we are giving you the mobile technology. We're giving you a lot of the automated productivity features that are in our software that are there for you to use to run your business in the most efficient way possible, hopefully be able to get more done with less staff. I mean, the software could more than pay for itself 10 times over if you use it.
You are listening to the global network of podcasters dedicated to the pharmacy profession. Welcome to the Pharmacy Podcast Network.
This is Pharmacy Crossroads with your host, community pharmacy business veteran, the road trip guy, Bruce Kneeland. Community pharmacy is at a crossroads. Pharmacy owners across the country are evolving their pharmacy businesses and making a bigger impact on their communities. Bruce talks with the most innovative community pharmacy owners, pharmacy industry experts, and people who are passionate about the business of pharmacy and its impact on community healthcare. Pharmacy Crossroads is a member of the Pharmacy Podcast Network. And now, here's our host, Bruce Kneeland.
Well, hello, everybody. This is Bruce Kneeland with another episode of Pharmacy Crossroads. Today, I've got two industry experts, and we're going to dig into some sensitive issues in this industry. Kevin Minassian, who's the president, CEO, big mucky muck of Datascan Pharmacy Systems, and then Sarah Callioras, who is the director of marketing and the person who really makes things happen back there. She makes Kevin look good all the time, and that's great. It's great to meet you both. Kevin, take a minute and tell us just a bit about yourself, how long you've been with Datascan, et cetera.
Well, I've been the head of the company now. This is my 16th year, but I've been around it my whole life. My father started this company in 1981, so I used to help out a lot when I was a kid. And then when I went away to college and graduated, I wanted nothing to do with it. And I started other businesses post-college. I owned them for over a decade. And when my father was ready to retire and wanted to sell the company, we sat down and spoke about it again and hashed it out. And here I am. I bought the company, just started about 16 years ago or so. And we are just about 4 times the size we were back when I came in to take the company over. We transformed a lot, our technology, our way of doing things. You know, we're a totally different company today than we were back then. And I'm really proud about a lot of the things we've accomplished here, the team we built, and where we're going.
And it is a team that you've got, and you're doing some remarkable things. Sarah, who are you?
So I am Sarah Callioras. I have been with Datascan for almost 10 years. And prior to that, I was actually a customer of Datascan's, managing a retail pharmacy that I essentially grew up in. I was a patient there with my parents and started working there in high school, worked there all through college and graduated college, stayed in the pharmacy. And I am fortunate to have kind of a unique perspective, I think, in being a customer first and then being a part of the team at Datascan. But to mirror really everything that Kevin says, I'm so proud of everything that we do here for independent pharmacies. Sitting in this seat, I see that we're doing a remarkable job engaging with our customers and really advocating for them just as independent businesses, just like we are.
Well, and I'm going to jump ahead on some of the theme that we hope to get into, but what I hear more than anything else is you guys have been in a pharmacy before, right?
Oh yeah, I was probably 8 years old going into pharmacies with my father. I mean, I've been around it my whole life, essentially.
Yeah, and that's important when it comes to building software and responding to issues. You can comprehend in quick order what it is that the problem is and try to jump on it. And so let's jump into it. Kevin, we've got a lot of problems in the industry that we don't need to reiterate. What's the primary thing you want to jump off on and talk about that you think needs to be discussed in this conversation?
Well, I think with relation to our part of the industry, I think there's two major problems. Number one is that, and we see it with our own clients, is that, you're paying for this software every month, right? You're paying for it. It's part of your life. It's an integral part of what you do every day in running your pharmacy. But it really boggles my mind how many people don't bother to really dig into the technology that not just my company, but many of my competitors are building into the software, and we're doing it. And I know my business, my company, Datascan, and a few of my other competitors, we're doing it, and we're not a la carting it. This isn't Peter Luger's. You don't get the steak, and if you want a side, you got to pay for it. We are giving you the mobile technology. We're giving you a lot of the automated productivity features that are in our software that are there for you to use to run your business in the most efficient way possible. Hopefully, be able to get more done with less staff. I mean, the software could more than pay for itself 10 times over if you use it. And it's amazing to me that we keep introducing new features and new functionality and all these great things, and how many customers either claim they don't have the time or they just don't bother to look at these features and how they can integrate them into their day-to-day lives. And it's there, and you're not paying more for it, but yet you're not using it. I mean, I can't tell you how many clients I find that don't even offer their patients the mobile application, which we recently rebuilt from the ground up. It's a phenomenal product. I mean, we spent 2 years and well into six figures redeveloping the product. And it's free. It's free for our customers. It's free for their patients. And the number one thing I always tell these people is, look at the way you live your life every single day. Right? Even my, 77-year-old father, my 75 this Sunday mother, you've got that smartphone in your hand. And whether you're doing your banking or you're in your Amazon account or whatever, the conveniences that we are now used to day in and day out, we expect it everywhere we go. It's not like when I was a kid and you wanted to watch a movie and, you had to go to the store, rent the movie, and fast forward through all the FBI warnings and the previews. We click a button and it's right there on our TV, whether it be Amazon Prime or Netflix or Paramount or whatever. So when you go to your pharmacy, you don't want to call up, wait for someone to pick up the phone and say, hey, I need this prescription refilled. You want to open your app, you want to click a button, you're done. And you don't want to show up there and find out it's not ready. You should have a notification on your phone, it's ready. And if they offer delivery, I should be able to click a button and set it for delivery. Hell, I should be able to click a button and pay for it and have it show up at my door and do nothing. That is what we expect as human beings in our lives because of how spoiled we've become with technology. How can you not offer the same conveniences to your patients? Because if you don't, they're going to go down the road to the chain or the other local guy that is doing these things, and you're going to lose customers. So one of the biggest things you need to look at is convenience. They don't want you to have, or they don't want to have to call you and say, hey, oh no, I have this maintenance medication and there's no refills left on it. That should be automated. It should be done using the technology that you're paying for. So that to me is a tremendous frustration because for me, the more of my technology you're using, the more you're loving us, the more your life is easier, and the more likely that you'll stay with us forever. So we want you to use this stuff. We want your business to be successful because if you're not, you're going to sell off and we're going to lose you as a customer. So we all benefit from you doing better.
Yeah, and the thing that I love about the angle that you take there is you're talking about convincing our pharmacy owners to look at their business from the patient's perspective. I was in a church committee planning meeting last night, and I'm an old geezer, and we're sitting around talking about what's this, what's that, or whatever, and musing and trying to remember, and the 22-year-old kid at the end of the table had it on Google and pointed it out to us in 20 seconds. And and that's where customers are today. They do that kind of stuff. Sarah, I can hear in Kevin's voice a little bit of passion on this topic. Can you add something about some of the features that are built into your software that pharmacists need to know about and take advantage of?
Definitely. So our mobile app, like Kevin said, is probably one of the things that I personally try and push to our customers when I do demos. I'm so engaged with our existing customers as well. So I'm always asking, hey, are you using it? Why not? Outside of that, there's a tremendous number of options and features built into our product that automates a lot of tasks that you would typically have a human being processing, different reports, sending out, like Kevin said, refill requests to doctors, reprocessing prior authorizations, a lot of those like day-to-day office type administrative tasks. And if we can give people back time, their staff, the owners, they can spend more of that time doing community outreach, reaching out to doctors, counseling patients, enrolling patients in adherence programs like MedSync, performing point of care testing. So all of these different things, I think, culminate to a bigger picture of freeing up time, saving money, and making their day a lot easier. It's shocking to me how many customers will email me or call me and ask, hey, I'd really love to be able to, got it this morning, I wish I could send out refill requests automatically so that I don't have to go through and call the doctors. And I'm like, we've had that feature in the system for over a decade. So it's really for us about engaging with them and helping them free up that time so they can do more and make more.
And I mean, this is a problem I've seen. I've been around for 50 years in this business, and it's a problem I've seen since the very beginning. I used to work for the original Health Mart operation, and part of our package was as we sent people every month planograms, updated planograms and pictures and all that. And I like to say I could sell 800 pharmacies on spending $50 a month on planograms. I couldn't get half of them to use them, even though they were paying for it. So, I've seen that phenomena since the very beginning. What are some of the things you do to try to break through that I'm too busy, I haven't got time?
It's just like marketing. Everything is repetition, right? So you just have to keep repeating yourself and keep showing them ways. And hopefully, and one of the things that frustrates me is, I wish that successful independent pharmacy owners were more willing to share their stories, their ideas, their successes, what makes them so good. They feel like they're sharing the secret sauce. But here's the reality, right? If you own a pharmacy in a particular town, what are the odds that you have another competing independent pharmacy within a few mile radius that is going to take your ideas and steal your patients? The odds of that are very slim. Chances are your competitors in your area are probably chains, small or large chains. Okay. There's strength in numbers. You should want your other competing, if you will, not even competing, you should want your other fellow pharmacy owners to be successful. You don't want to wake up tomorrow and find out that 19,000 and change independent pharmacy number is 15,000, and a few years from there, it's 12,000. You need strength in numbers. And if you fight together against the PBMs like you are, if you fight for your business and your industry and you have greater numbers, and you're going to do better, you're going to have more success. So, if you listen, I have independent pharmacy owner clients that can't wait to get out of this business. They struggle. They hate it. They loathe it because why? They're still running their business like they did 15, 20 years ago. They're so focused on prescription profits, and they're looking at they're not paying attention to the other opportunities there. Then I have clients that see the big picture. They cater to their niche market in the area that they serve, whether it be high end or middle class or whatever it is in terms of their front end, what they do. I mean, I have guys in high end areas in the summertime in the Hamptons. They're doing facials, and they're selling candles for $90 a piece, and they've got high end cosmetics. And you know what? Yes, that's a different market. But, if you're in a lower income market, what can you offer these folks and show them the savings? Because we're built with this big box mentality. We think that if we go to CVS or we go to Walmart, like it's like Costco or BJ's, where when I go in and I want to buy my Tylenol or my over-the-counter goods, it's cheaper because they buy in bulk. That's not the truth. That's where the chains are making their money. But you're not educating the people in your local town. You're not doing a price comparison, what you sell something for versus the local chain. Let them know that. Build your OTC out. Get into non-sterile compounding. maybe try to get into a local facility to do some, nursing care, or, there's better reimbursements in it. Work with some local doctors. There are ways to build these businesses. The biggest failure, I believe, the biggest way to fail in owning an independent pharmacy is by standing behind the counter typing out prescriptions and filling prescriptions. You are not a business owner. You're a business operator. You're running your business day to day, and there's nobody there to look at other profit centers or look at ways to cut the waste, reinvest the money, and find ways to bring in better profit centers. My clients that do that have 50, 60-foot boats, vacation homes. They're living the life of Riley. And these are honest guys, old school guys that are in their 50s, 60s, whatever, that they're not there scamming anybody. They're like me. They want to put their head on the pillow at night and sleep good, knowing that nobody's coming to get them, right? They're not doing any kind of scams. They're running their business. They're a business owner. And I feel like if we could, and my father used to say, by the way, for years, the thing that pissed him off the most was they put you through pharmacy school, but they don't give you business classes. And I think they changed that at some point, but not enough. So many pharmacists come out of pharmacy school, maybe not as much anymore, but for years with this dream of not to go work for a chain, but to open their own pharmacy. But they don't have the tools because they don't understand about running a business. They don't understand the importance of their numbers, the importance of the accounting piece of it, the importance of looking at wasteful spending. They're filling shelves with inventory, whether it be front end, back end. They have all this money tied up, and they don't understand why they're not making any money. And so if you're going to be a pharmacy owner, you need to act like one. You can have a technician typing prescriptions. You can just verify them if you don't have another staff member to do it. But you need to get out from behind that counter. You need to read publications. You need to do research. You need to get involved and look at models that are working for other people out there and see what you can do, what technology you can implement, and what changes you can make inside your business. And some guys, I get it. They're so burnt out. They feel like they missed the boat. And for that, I always say, look at the story of good old Colonel Sanders. Look at the guy who started KFC. I want to say he was almost 70 years old. He was in his 60s or 70s when he started it. It's never too late. It's never too late.
That's really a good final point on that. Sarah, you talked about reports a little bit ago, and Kevin just kind of hit on them. Pick a report or two that you think has great value that most people aren't taking advantage of.
So I think number one, first and foremost, the most important types of reports that these people should be using are inventory-based reports, because that is where the majority of their money sits. There's so much waste in inventory in the back, in the pharmacy, in the front end with all their OTC products, that if they could learn how to use these inventory type reports and figure out slow movers, fast movers, certain medications that are nearing expiration date that they could return and actually get credit back for, they could really minimize a lot of that wasted spend that's sitting on their shelves. So I think that, and analyzing and using dashboards and tools within the software, in addition to reporting, helps them definitely with saving.
Okay. So let's switch subjects. So the other thing that you were wanting to cover here, and it's one that's close to my heart, is the consolidation in the pharmacy management system industry, the consolidation in other aspects of this business, and how that's bringing corporatization, if that's a word, to the industry. And these people have to look at what they're being charged for. Kevin, take off on that subject.
So we've been talking about it for years, and for over a decade, our slogan has been the independently owned software company for the independent pharmacy. The unfortunate part is, up until now, it hasn't resonated as much as I thought it would, which is a shame, because I always say, as an independent pharmacy owner, right, it would break your heart to see your patients walk out the door and go to a local chain. I mean, in your heart that you can service those people way better than the local chain can. I mean, that's what makes you different. That's what makes you, that's what's kept you alive and being able to survive. had all these years when these big chains move into town. It's the same here, right? I also compare it to doing business with like a big bank versus a little one. If I go back a decade ago or more, I mean, we had so many small banks that were around here on Long Island in New York where we're located. And we did business with them forever. And all of a sudden, Capital One and all these big banks came in and they buy them out. And here comes the big corporate red tape. Now, if there is a problem and you need somebody, it's like, well, hold on a second. It has to go through the process, right? I've had money stolen from me on 2 different occasions from 2 different banks. And when it was an independent, when it was a small bank, they fixed it for me in 24 hours. Big bank, I ended up having to get put in a government complaint to get the big bank to respond and actually work with me on money that was stolen from us that had nothing to do with us. When you have a problem with your technology, and technology in this space moves super fast, we don't have the ability to write it and test it for a year and then release it. We'll fall behind, unbelievably. So, it moves fast in this space. And so there's always going to be little issues and problems, but you need to be able to pick up the phone, get somebody on the phone immediately and get that problem resolved. You don't have the time for it. You're dealing with enough nonsense in a day. You don't need to sit there waiting for someone to pick up the phone to help you or waiting for someone to fix your issue that you opened 2 weeks ago that's still reoccurring and nobody's helping you. That's where Datascan is different. And, we are one of the last of the Mohicans, man, because I got to tell you, a lot of people don't know this, but, BlackRock, the big, one of the, if not the largest, private equity company in the world, owns what was called TDS, Transaction Data Systems, is now rebranded as Outcomes. And under that umbrella, live, you have RX30 and Computer RX being promoted. And to my knowledge, there's still a bunch of legacy systems being supported that are still under that umbrella, waiting for them to move over. Then you have Red Sail, who is the corporate name, but it's not even the private equity company that owns them, that owns Pioneer RX. They own QS1, Integra, Best RX, and as of I believe a week ago, they closed on Micro Merchants. Micro Merchants is no longer owned by TA Associates, so now Micro Merchants has sold twice in a matter of about 5 or 6 years.
Yeah.
And what ends up happening is these companies, private equity. Look it up, Google it. The entire idea behind private equity is investors take their private funds. This is not on a public market like the NASDAQ or whatever. And they invest in these companies with a higher risk, but the expectations of a much higher return. When you control such a large part of the market, when you talk about independent pharmacy, for example, and software, right? Red Sail now controls well more than 50% of the market in terms of, user base. When you control that, how do you continue to give your investors, how do you give them higher returns and better profits, right? Well, it's harder to land more customers because you're running out of companies to acquire. And now the only way you're getting customers is A, if somebody opens a new pharmacy, or B, somebody's really mad at their existing vendor. Well, at this point, if they're really mad at their existing vendor, it might be them because they own so many of the software companies, right? Yeah. So now how are you going to grow the profits? Well, there's 2 ways to do it: raise prices and cut costs. And what ends up happening with these big companies is you have a lot of turnover now. The people that you liked, maybe that you were doing business with, the managers that maybe came from the industry, that understood our industry, which is very unique in its own right, now they're gone, and you're bringing in these corporate bigwigs that may or may not understand our business. They start to make changes. Those changes start to hurt you, the pharmacy owner, because A, you're paying more. For example, a lot of people don't know Pioneer RX is now charging their customers to fill cash prescriptions. In 45 years in this business, Datascan has never charged the customer a penny to fill a cash prescription. You can fill a million of them a year. You're never going to pay anything for that, okay? And that's been the industry standard. So you're starting to see these different fees. You're watching the monthly fees raise. We give our customers our mobile application, whereas some of these companies are $100, $150 a month for that. All of a sudden, you start to realize that you're spending more and more and more and more. And then these people, they realize that the level of service isn't what it used to be. And then many of them, when they want to leave, they realize they're locked into such a tremendous contract with such a penalty that many of them feel stuck where they are. And that's something that we always say is the Datascan promise. We don't sneak in and start raising your prices. We don't do stuff like that. We guarantee that you will always speak to live people. We are never going to put AI into our support loop where you're going to have to talk to a computer to get help. And we are always going to focus on our product, our service, and our price to deliver the best value to our customers. I'm 48 years old. I am nowhere near ready to retire at this point. And Sarah is younger than me. So you have two people that know this business, that have been around it a long time, that are the head of this company. Sarah, by the way, is my vice president and has been for a couple of years now. So you have two people that get the business, that understand it. And listen, the proof is in the pudding, man. I've owned companies for 26 years. I started a company from scratch and built it to $6.5 million a year in sales online right out of college. I came into this company. It was 28 years old. It had about 150, 160 accounts. Today, we're sitting just shy of 600 accounts. Our profitability, our client base, everything is nearly 4 times what it was. So I think that you have some people here at the helm that know what they're doing and can help you and your business without ripping you off. And obviously, our goal is to never stress you out. So when somebody's upset, because it's going to happen, right? It happens. When somebody's upset here, we have a hierarchy, and it's very, very easy to get to Sarah or myself in that manner. Sarah's always the best, though. I mean, she's a lot sweeter and nicer than I am. So I always say, but I mean, Sarah, sometimes I tell her she's crazy. I mean, she'll have a customer that's just, upset about something, and she could deal with it the next day. And Saturday night at 8:00 at night, she's texting somebody or she's emailing somebody back to make sure that they're okay. And I appreciate her for that, and the customers appreciate that. So, doing business with us is like the way you treat your patients. You rely on us every day, day in and day out. And now you see all of these mergers and acquisitions. And I'll tell you right now, we're hearing it left and right. Service is not what it was. Of course it's not. Now you're one of 12,000 or 15, whatever it is, versus one of a few hundred, which is the way it used to be. Yeah. And then these companies came in and they started buying them up and merging them. And these companies got bigger and bigger. I know my competitors. I've been friendly with a lot of these guys for years. I mean, in fact, some of them that have sold off and left, I'm still in touch with. I love these guys. In fact, friends of mine were laughing last week in Florida. They were visiting me in my house in Florida, and one of my competitors called on the phone, and I answered the phone, and we're laughing and talking to each other about some of the recent changes in the industry. And I got off the phone, and my friend said, "Wow, you really are friendly with your competitors." I said, "Absolutely. The ones that do it the right way, the honest way, that aren't disparaging one another, we love each other."
Well, you've hit on a couple topics there, but there's one more, and I'm going to go to Sarah for this. One of the biggest complaints I hear with the consolidation is you can't get into anybody to tell them about a problem or to fix something. How do you handle calls from people who are asking you to fix something or create something new? What's the process at Datascan for somebody who needs help with something, Sarah?
Yeah, so our help desk is always the fastest and easiest way to reach somebody, and we really tell all of our customers, pick up the phone and call them. They'll help you in 30 seconds or less. I actually was doing a demo for someone yesterday, and I had said to her, don't even take my word for it. When we hang up, call into my support and see how quickly you get someone. And she started laughing, and she said, I have to confess, I actually did that yesterday before our demo. And she said they picked up the phone so quickly it caught me off guard, and I didn't even know what to say to them. And really, their time is everything. They have a patient more than likely standing there staring at them who is sick. They want their medication, and they don't have the time to just keep saying, sorry, I have a glitch in my system. Sorry, I'm waiting on the help desk. The patient doesn't care. They want their prescription. So we've kind of ingrained that in our support staff, and they understand that it's got to be done quickly and it's got to be done efficiently. Our process with any type of customer that maybe is frustrated or they want something, escalated, we have a support manager who is available to any of our customers at any point should they have an issue that requires immediate attention and they're unhappy with our general support. It's rare, but it happens. Beyond that, like Kevin said, I make myself available to all of our customers at any point, day or night, weekends, holidays. If they text me, if they email me, if they call me, I'm involved, and we make sure that their issue gets resolved next to immediately. And it's really a simple process for them. It's rare that we need Kevin. So it's good. It's good for him. He can focus on doing everything here, making us bigger, better, marketing and stuff like that. And our customers are aware that they have the support when they need it.
Well, we're coming to the end of this thing. I remember I actually sold pharmacy computers in 1980 for a company called PharmAssist. It got bought and I lost my job. I've seen TBL, PharmAssist, PAM, a bunch of companies just get swallowed and evaporate, and the industry has changed. And if people are frustrated and they're open to looking for something new, how do they find you, Kevin?
Oh, I mean, our website for starters, datascanpharmacy.com. They can call our office, 877-222-RX. We did that to make it easy to remember, or just 631-698-6285. And a simple search on the internet of Datascan Pharmacy software will yield all kinds of results for us. We're very easy to find, and we're very easy to get in touch with.
Sarah, you get the last word. What do you think? What's the one last thing you'd like people to know about your company?
So I don't think we touched on this, but I think before we started recording, Kevin had mentioned that Datascan sponsors an independent organization called PUT, Pharmacists United for Truth and Transparency, which I'm going to give them a nice plug and tell everyone that if they're not members, they should join because they advocate for you every single day. But in their own podcast, they were talking with Mark Cuban, and they were talking about cost plus and a lot of things. And he had questioned, are there still independent vendors out there when it comes to software? And they said, of course, we love Datascan. And they're talking more about Datascan and what we do. And Mark Cuban says, why isn't everyone using Datascan? And I think that's where I would leave it and ask everyone, why are you all not using Datascan?
Did you actually get to talk to Mark, Kevin?
We emailed each other.
Okay.
He has to be introduced to me, and Mark and we've emailed each other a few times. And as I read more about Cost Plus recently, I realized that pharmacies can actually benefit by becoming like a fulfillment for Cost Plus. So I emailed him again this past week, and he introduced me to one of the gals in his organization, and she sent me some information I'm going to look over and possibly promote it to our clients because they're guaranteeing them, like minimal dispense rates and things like that to make sure that they're filling their prescriptions, where it's profitable to the pharmacy. And I love that he's advocating for that. He's actually fighting for independent pharmacy, and he actually did it recently in front of, I believe it was Congress or something. So, I think that this could help everybody in a lot of ways, and I'm happy that we have someone with so much visibility out there fighting for the industry now. I think that this is going to be a good thing.
Well, listen, this has been a delightful half hour. I'm thrilled to get better acquainted with both of you and admire what you're doing. And it's time to call this to an end. So friends and neighbors, this is Bruce Kneeland is calling it an end of the podcast with Kevin and Sarah of Datascan Pharmacy Systems. Here's hoping that you have a great day and you can do more and be better. Take care.
Thanks for listening to Pharmacy Crossroads. If you're interested in talking with Bruce, please contact the show. Visit pharmacycrossroads.com. We look forward to hearing from you.